Hey, kitty. Hey, folks. Come here. Um, hey, folks. Lester here. I'm out in the shop, little kitchenette area, and I have quite the surprise today. I got Maggie over at Longhorn Lester's. Maggie, come here. Maggie is with me at Longhorn Lester's, and I'm only doing this because you all told me to. I've been doing some of those Facebook reels and some of those Facebook stories. That's not really my style. Facebook has kind of asked us to do more of those things because that's kind of the way the page is gearing to shorter hit type videos. So in one of my stories or one of my reels, I asked a poll question of how many people would like to see Maggie. Well, I said the girls from I'm a Survivor meet up with the girls from Longhorn Lester's. And so I think 89% of you all said, yes, let those girls meet. Those girls need to meet. And so I brought Maggie over this morning. Oh, I brought Ritzy too. Ritzy, where you at? There's Ritzy. I got Ritzy and Maggie, and they're here with me, but they're scared. Maggie and Ritzy are scared. But guess what? They're not scared of Fiona and Millie. They're scared of the cats because these cats over here don't mess around. The cats that I brought over here to help me become the mouse patrol, they don't mess around. And they already had kind of a pecking order established, and the cats are on top here in the shop. Millie and Fiona have learned their roles. They don't mess with the cats. And all of a sudden now Maggie shows up and wants to eat all the cat food. And these cats are over here saying no. They've already slapped her around a little bit. And so both Maggie and Ritzy have come to my feet, and they're laying right here at my feet, and they're terrified to move. So that's kind of cute. But I want to say happy Friday to you all. And yes, I see a couple of people have said it. You said that I've trimmed. I've kind of trimmed everything up. And I did do that. Brittany Sanchez. Where did I see that? Brittany Sanchez says, take off your hat. Brittany, I don't know what would be the reason behind that. But if you all don't know this, I will tell you a story about Brittany Sanchez because I know her very well. You see, Brittany was a student of mine years and years and years ago. I believe when Brittany was in 8th grade, I taught her language arts. And I'm going to tell you a funny story about Brittany. Brittany, I hope I don't embarrass you, but you started it by the whole hat thing. I'll tell you a funny story about Brittany. I keep up with a lot of my former students on Facebook. Even though most kids Brittany's age, she's 19 or 20 now, most kids her age don't use Facebook, but they will every once in a while pop in and say hi to their teacher because I'm always going to be their teacher. And so Brittany will sometimes share a video, or she'll share a photograph from the time they were in our class. And I got in trouble one time with Brittany and her mom because I had said something to offend her. And Brittany knows this story. Brittany knows this story all too well. I was joking. So I've always been quite the jokester as a teacher. And I like to build relationships with my students to where they learn to trust. You want your kids to be able to trust you. And I've always been real with the kids. I've always wanted them to know that I'm a real person and that I'm, let me turn my phone off, that just like the students, I know that kids go through hard times in life, and I've always let the kids know that even as an adult, we also go through our own trials and and so when you begin to build relationships with your kids, you are able to joke and play with them more. But I forgot the exact thing that I said to upset Brittany, but I upset her. And so, one of the things that I've always done to make a wrong right is I would sing. I would sing. And so, I believe the exact song was one from Adele, where it says hello. And so, Brittany was mad, and I have to back up a little bit. Brittany had an assigned seat. Not all of my kids had an assigned seat. Hold on. Not all of my kids had an assigned seat, but Brittany earned an assigned seat that year. I normally let kids sit wherever they want to, but I made Brittany sit at a desk adjacent to the teacher desk because sometimes you have to keep an eye on certain kids. But I had assigned her a seat, and on this particular day, Brittany sat with her back to me because she was upset with me about something. She said that I said that. I don't know if that's true. Anyway, I told Brittany, I says, "Hey, for being so close, you seem very distant." And she ignored me. Eighth grade girls are known for that, y'all. Eighth grade girls are known, teenage girls, they're teenagers. And anyone who knows a teenage girl, or if you have a teenage daughter or a teenage granddaughter, or if you can remember when you were a teenager, you guys go through a rebellious state. You go through a lot of rebellion. And Brittany was choosing to make me the target of her rebellion that day. She was mad at the world, y'all. But I just so happened to be the guy who she was going to take it out on. And so what I did was I began to sing her a song. It was in front of the entire class of about 35 or 40 other eighth grade students. And I turned on the music and I sing along with Adele. Hello. And Brittany got quite embarrassed, and she got up and she stormed out of my classroom. And that was the only time I ever had a kid get up and storm out of my classroom. So I realized I learned a lesson about teenage girls. When they're having a bad day, leave them alone. Just leave them alone. Just leave them alone. And so we made up, and we've become great friends here. Long after she left my class, she finally came back around to realize what she had in this teacher. And that's funny, Brittany, and I know that you agree with this, because a lot of us don't realize what we have until it's gone. And that's true. That's very, very true. A lot of students don't realize what they have in a teacher until that teacher's no longer their teacher. And a lot of us, as you know, we don't sometimes realize what we have in our partners until we lose a partner. We don't realize what we have in things until it's gone. And I believe that that could be a life lesson that we all could take from that. And so Brittany and I'm a friend of Brittany's. As a matter of fact, Brittany was the sweet young lady who rehomed her ferrets to us. You remember the ferrets that we had for a while? Those came from Brittany. And then she was also the first owner of that sweet little goat, Beth. And so Brittany also sent Beth over to have a forever home with us. We did have to rehome the ferrets because we could not, even though Brittany sent them with an amazing, a very, very large ferret container, a home. We couldn't get the ferrets to use the litter box, the litter pads, the litter box. And so if you've ever had ferrets, then you know that they create a lot of mess. And it was a constant struggle trying to clean up after them. And so I let them live in the barndominium for a while, and I built them different places around the house trying to keep them. And so finally it was just too much. It was too much cleanup. And Jamie didn't like the cleanup, obviously, and so I was working with Fidel at the time, and Fidel has 5 daughters, and they would come over, and they just loved those ferrets. And Fidel knew that they were sloppy and dirty, but he said he would take care of them, and his little girls wanted them. So I let Fidel have those ferrets. I rehomed those ferrets to Fidel. And so Brittany knew about that. I've always kept up with Brittany, and she and I dialogue on a regular basis. And then a year later, she offers up Beth. She had gotten Beth at a time in her life when she needed something to love on. And Beth got big fast. Beth, cute little Beth got big fast. Goats can grow up so fast on you. And so we brought Beth in, and Jake wanted to have his own little rescue at that point. So we, I don't think you really call it a rescue when someone surrenders an animal to you. That's not a rescue, but we let Beth become Jake's little pet. And then Beth grew up too fast for Jake. And so Jake moved Beth over to live with Brienne and Brienne's little goats, where Beth had a beautiful life. And I don't mean to get emotional, but this has just been recent. So Beth didn't make it. Beth had an issue. And Brittany knows about this. I already told Brittany. We had a good cry over it. But Beth has crossed that rainbow bridge. But what a sweet, sweet little girl Beth was. And we all love her, and we all miss her. And we still have a whole lot of video footage that we've not been able to play yet from Beth. It's hard to play videos after an animal has already passed because a lot of people are confused. They don't always read the fine print and the description. And so when people start talking about how they miss somebody and other folks don't know that, they haven't kept up. But Brittany, it's nice to see you on my live. It's surprising to see you on Facebook because people your age, at the age of 19 and 20, don't use Facebook a lot. So it's nice to see you here. I know Brittany's more of a YouTuber. And I will also say one last thing about Brittany. She reached out to me a couple of months back and gave me some very exciting news that she's pregnant. And we're all excited to see her. She's going to have a son. And so I'm very excited to see Brittany's future and how she is as a mother. And the most exciting thing about that is that Brittany's going to realize real fast, once she has that baby, how I felt as a teacher. Because in a way, you're a teacher, but those students are also like your kids. The same way your animals are like your kids. And so Brittany's going to have a child of her own, and she's going to remember a lot of the things that Mr. Morrow taught her in the classroom. And she'll be like, yep, I should have listened. I should have listened. I should have listened. So I'll move on. So a lot of people are saying congratulations to Brittany. She is going to be a great mom. She's going to be a wonderful mom. And Brittany has an amazing sense of humor. And so there's going to be a lot of laughter in that house, in that household. And I can't wait to see that. And I should say one last thing. I did not start this live out to be about Brittany. That just happened to pop up. But would you believe that Brittany has asked me to be the godfather to her baby? Yeah, the godfather. And so if you want to continue to call me Longhorn Lester, that's completely fine. Or if you want to call me the godfather, I guess I'll just take that as well. But I accepted that honor, and it would be a blessing to be a godfather to Brittany's child. I'm actually a godfather to a lot of babies. Not really babies anymore. I've taught school for 25 years. So if you can imagine the number of students who've graduated over those 25 years who are now in their 20s and 30s and 40s. Yes, that's when you realize how old you are. When you have students who are in their 40s. And then when you have, this is the craziest thing I remember, that I was a teacher to a young lady in middle school, and I taught for so long that I ended up being the teacher to her daughter. And so they came to the open house, and I saw the mom who was my first student with her daughter, and they looked identical. And I always kept the classroom pictures on my wall. I would always have a wall that had all of my class photos. So I have every kid that I've ever taught there, with their class photo. And it was neat seeing the lady standing and pointing at their pictures on the wall. Um, so I have a lot of neat memories from my teaching years. I will say this: I miss the relationship building that I had with the students. I miss sharing literature with the students because I'm a reader. You guys know that. And I love to read, and I really do miss that part of teaching. But I don't miss lesson planning. I don't miss the grade book. I don't miss the after school meetings. I don't miss a lot of the things that make teaching uh, the reason that so many teachers get out of the profession is not because of the students. That's a myth. You may think that kids are so bad that teachers don't want to teach. It's not kids being so bad. It's administrators, and there's such micromanagement in education that they put so much weight on your shoulders with things that don't make a bit of difference in the classroom. And so there are amazing teachers who have relationships and bonds with their students. And when you can connect with the student, you'll learn real fast that that child would give the world to you. That child would give you the world because you've done something for that child that no one's ever done before. You've connected and you've created a bond. And that's all that a lot of kids need. They need someone to believe in them, and someone to love them, and someone to support them. And a lot of kids come to school these days just for that. They get more love from school than they get at home. They also get a meal. They don't always, a lot of kids who live in poverty don't get meals that are around the house. Fiona, stop, baby. She's barking at Maggie. And then and of course kids get love. And so when you have teachers and you have people that love them, and they show that love, then you have great classes when you can build those kinds of bonds. And we had a great connection with Brittany and her class, and I've tried to build that with all of my classes. But well, let's move on to things to talk about here with Longhorn Lesters and I'm a Survivor. I don't know if you're having problems hearing me because I have the fan blowing because it's hot today. I also have Millie and Fiona are barking over here because they want a piece of Maggie. They want a piece of Maggie and Ritzy, and we're not going to do that. But guys, this is nothing new. You've been hearing about this probably more than you want to, but everyone is concerned about the drought and the heat wave. And as much as I try to stay calm and collected, I'm not going to lie and say that that's not just weighing heavily on my mind and every farmer and rancher out there. The animals are beginning to exhibit behaviors that we're not familiar with, and it hurts to know. It hurts that you don't know what to do to alleviate what they're going through. You can go out and you can put fresh water in their water troughs. You can go out and you can put, fresh grains in the feed troughs. You can go out and we're putting out hay. Most people are already feeding hay because there's no grass. The grass has stopped growing, and our fields are just turning into dust bowls. And you can do all that you can do, but you can't find a way to lift the cow's spirits. Or, your different animals are all struggling. They're all struggling, and we're seeing the struggles show up more and more. And that hurts. It's a pain that we feel, a weight that's on our shoulders, and because you just don't know what to do for them. I made a video this morning. I was walking around I'm a Survivor, looking at and observing different behaviors that the animals are exhibiting, and there's a pain in on my heart and in my chest because I don't know how to help them. And so the misting fans and the cooling stations and keeping the water changed and fresh is great. But even when you're putting grains out to feed, the animals are not eating. They don't want to eat. That's not what they're wanting to eat. They're missing something. And we're trying something new here today at Longhorn Lester's. We stopped at Tractor Supply and we bought. This is going to sound strange to you. I don't know if you're going to understand this or not, but we bought some some beet pulp. Beet pulp. I'll type it in, and maybe beet pulp. And what you're supposed to do, and this is something that I read on Google, but they're saying that you can take this beet pulp and you can water it down, and hopefully, if you're having cows that are not really eating and they're not choosing to eat, by offering them something with some water content, um, any kind of citric or fruit or different kinds of vegetable type watered down feeds might be the solution. I know a lot of horse people would know about this. This is something that a lot of horse people do already. And so we bought some beet pulp, and I'm going to get off the live here and go water it down. So yeah, so a lot of folks are saying yes, that they've been using that. I missed soak it, then feed. Yes, so thank you, Anne Marie Jackson Clark. It's a long name. Water it down, soak it, and then feed it. And so we're going to start doing that, and I'm going to try it today for the first time here at Longhorn Lester's. We also bought a bag to take back to I'm a Survivor for the animals over there. But so that's one thing that we're going to try. And then a lot of folks may not know about this one over here. But have y'all ever heard about anyone feeding cottonseed? Cottonseed. And so that's another one that was suggested. And so we bought beet pulp, we bought cottonseed, and what we need is for our animals just to eat and find something that they can sustain themselves on until we get some rain and the grass begins to grow again. Because right now all of the grass is just, there's no moisture in the grass whatsoever. And so cottonseed is well known for okay. So it seems like a lot of you folks already know about this. And so yes, we do have salt licks. Where'd that go? So that is actually a necessity. All of your animals have to have a salt lick this time of year. So we have plenty of salt licks out. We also have mineral blocks that they're nibbling on, going through pretty fast. But they're deficient in a lot of things, guys, and more than, they just need grass. There's nothing better for them than what Mother Nature can provide. But right now, Mother Nature's not providing a whole lot. And so we're trying to fix it, y'all. We're trying to find a way to get them through. But I was just heartbroken when I was reading some stuff Jamie sent me yesterday about how many animals are being sent through the auctions around the country and around the world. There's an auction barn here in Texas that normally goes through 3,000 head of livestock a week. 3,000 a week is their average numbers of livestock that move through the auction barn. And that's a variety of animals, from goats to cows and horses and donkeys and sheep and whatnot. And would you believe that their weekly numbers have topped 30,000? That's 30,000 people or 30,000 animals that are not able to, the farmer or the rancher cannot sustain them any longer. And so they're trying to sell them before they lose them. And so these are desperate times. These are scary times. And so I don't mean to come onto the page with this grim outlook and, so bleak. And and all of that. But I think that you can see it in our voices and every farm channel that I follow. I know you can hear it and you can feel it, and we're all getting to desperate times. And then what's scary about that is that as a sanctuary and a rescue, I know that we're held to a much higher standard than just your typical farm. And so we've offered to give these babies a forever home and to have them live their best life. And right now, when I walk out into the pastures and I look at them and I see they're depleted, just the look of defeat, and I just don't feel like that's the best life for anybody. And so it's a strain on us, and it's a huge strain on them. So you guys just keep us in your prayers, and not just us, but keep all of your farmers, even those that don't have platforms to share. You know, we have an outlet to get things off of our chest. We can go online or make a video or do a live and tell you all of our woes and sorrows and our heartaches and our heartbreaks and our fears and our worries. And that kind of helps alleviate some of that stuff, to at least put it out there so you can feel with us. And if nothing else, it kind of keeps you in tune on what's going on here, in the real world with all of our animals. But what, like Jamie mentioned a while back, you feel horrible for the farmers who are going through this, who do not have the support systems like we have. They don't have the resources that we have. And so I completely understand those folks having to load their babies up and take them to the auctions and to the markets. And but I'm only afraid that most of those animals are being bought up for slaughter. Obviously, meat prices are going up, and yet the price of cattle are going down. And so it's just it's a really, really sad thing. All right, well, yes, if y'all want to Google um, those things I talked about with the beet pulp and the cottonseed, go ahead. And if you have any other suggestions, then by all means, let us know what kind of things you're doing to help your babies get through all of this. But yeah, I see someone else said their vegetable gardens are not doing well, and so anyway, let's try to move on to other things. I've been making my lives more about you than about me, and so I'll try to highlight. Oh, I bought a piece of meat, $17.99 a pound. I bought less than a pound, and it still cost me $11. And the thing is, how can you even feed your family on less than a pound of meat? And so that's a ridiculous price. So no, 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 no. So here we go. So this is what I worry about. Listen, so gutter girl. Okay, gutter girl, hang in there, Lester. No, listen, we're gonna hang in there. We're not giving up. We are nowhere near giving up. So let me just try to counterbalance what I just said. Maybe I started off the live on kind of a low note. So here's what I'll say. The goats that are here at Longhorn Lester's are fine. There's plenty to forage on, so they're going to be fine. The cows, as far as the Longhorns here, I think that you've already seen the videos where I can let the cows go into the pasture with the goats. And cows are also good at foraging, guys. They can also sustain themselves on foraging type things, brush, shrubs, plants, trees, leaves. Whereas a lot of cows can't do that. So I do think that the animals here at Longhorn Lester's, by and large, are better off than the babies that are still over at I'm a Survivor. But for the horses and the donkeys and Moo and Annabelle, and of course in my dad's cows, Billy, who we love so much, and then Sister Kim's goats and my dad's goats, I know they're all struggling. I watch them struggle. And so we just need rain. We just need rain. So anyway, we're going to make it. No one's going to give up. We're going to do what we have to do to help everybody get through this. But you guys don't forget to keep everybody in your prayers, not just us, but Someone's saying it's not just you, it's all over the country. Here's someone in, I think it said Pennsylvania, where it's 104 degrees. How could it ever get to be 104 degrees in Pennsylvania? That just seems, uh-oh. Um, so I'm trying to focus on you all, yet over here I see a lot of people are getting onto someone for something. Yeah, the live is not a good place to come and start ranting about whatever the rant is about. I don't have anyone moderating the live right now. So actually, Brienne, if you're on here, you know our information. If you wouldn't mind taking that person and giving them the boot for life. You want to know something that's funny about whenever you ban somebody? So they're still able to watch your videos. They can still see your content. They can even still post, but whatever they post, whatever they comment is hidden from everyone else. So only they don't realize they're typing for nothing. And so how dumb is that for these people to lose an opportunity to have their voices heard when their voice is only something that no one wants to hear because they can't seem to find something kind to say. Yeah, Jamie was talking about that, and I think it was so true. She was talking about the difference in being kind and being nice. And so a lot of folks know that you should be nice, you should be nice, you should be nice. But Joseph Hauser. So Joseph is a friend of mine. Joseph, we don't want your money, son. Take that back. Take it back, Joseph. So Maggie, you all know that back in the old days, I used to, before we had the sanctuary and stuff, I had let Maggie have a couple of litters of puppies. And Joseph, he bought one of those puppies. And yeah, Joseph, we'd love to see a picture of that baby. Now, I'm sure he's no longer a baby. I bet he's a big boy. But take your money back, Joseph. We don't need that. We don't do that. We are only here for your entertainment purposes only. But yeah, it was nice to see your name there, Joseph. So we've seen this a lot. Can you put some shade sails up for shade at the sanctuary? So there's trees, and there's a barn, and there's an eave, an overhang for our watering station. And so putting up shade sails would not do a whole lot. It's not going to help the grass grow. So all of the pastures have shade, not a lot of shade, but they have shade. There's no animals. There's no animals on Morrow Hill, none, that are forced to be in the sun all day. The only times they go into the sun is to when they want to try to graze. But right now there's no grass to graze anyway. So what we're noticing is all of the animals are hanging around the barn most of the day. They go up in the mornings as soon as the sun gets hot, and they hang out in the barn all day long. And so, and they're eating nothing. They're just standing there waiting to be fed in the afternoons. And so I feel bad for them for that. And so we've begun to go ahead and feed morning grains and afternoon grains. So what we're doing, we're on kind of a wintertime schedule. We're on a wintertime rationing where we're putting out hay, which is way too early for hay, but we're already putting out hay, and we're feeding morning grains, afternoon grains, but the babies are getting no grass in between, nothing. And so I don't know if you know the dangers of grains, but feeding too many grains can create a stomach acid, and then your babies begin to feel bad. They get bloating, and they just don't feel healthy. It's the same way you would feel if you were to eat McDonald's 3 or 4 days in a row. Your McDonald's meal might taste good. You might enjoy the burger or the McNuggets, your fries and your soda once in a while. But if you were to eat that same meal twice a day or 3 times a day for 2 or 3 days, you're going to start feeling sluggish, and you're going to feel down, and you're going to lose a lot of your energy. You're not going to feel healthy. And that's the problem right now, I'm afraid, is that everybody is starting to feel sluggish and they're starting to feel down, which is why we're trying to find different things to feed them, like the beet pulp, like the cottonseed, something that they'll maybe eat that can be a little bit closer to foraging without actual foraging. Um, so, have you considered planting more trees and shrubs around the pastures this fall in case this happens again? So, it's hard to plant anything where you have goats because as soon as the goats see that thing sprout up, they're going to start eating on it. And so, goats will eat everything to the ground. So, you're not able to grow anything in a pasture where you have goats. And then, if you're going to suggest we go out there and try to plant some shrubs and then cover them with something while they grow. So what happens is the goats will go out there and they'll eat all of the leaves off the bottom, and then they'll begin to eat the bark from around the bottom of the tree or the shrub. And then once all of the bark is eaten off, then the tree or the shrub dies. So Sister Kim has experienced that. Sister Kim has a beautiful pasture. We got a pond dug for her last year, and we did some fencing for her. And so Sister Kim has a pasture now around the back of her yard where she runs her goats. But what she learned real fast was once the goats eat all the shrubs and all you have is grass, which is not what they want, they begin to eat on your trees and they'll begin to nibble on the bark of those trees. And so all of Kim's trees are dying now. And she's lost a lot of trees. The most important tree she has, I think it's a muscadine tree, I believe, that the goats have begun to attack the bark on it, and Kim has had to go out there and try to find a way to protect the bottom of that tree to keep it alive. So it's really hard to plant things like that. The best thing we can do is take goats for walks out and about where there's already trees and shrubs, and there's lots of woods, but the woods have not been fenced off. And so we can't fence them off because it doesn't belong to us. It's not our property. It belongs to Joanne. And so you really can't fence off someone else's property. Joanne doesn't mind us using the property, but I'm not going to go spend thousands of dollars to fence it if in fact it's not mine. And so I can take them for walks. And so that's something that we have done. We did that a lot, y'all. We did that a lot before I brought them over here. Now that they're over here, they're fine. The goats are going to be fine. But at some point, we'll want to get them back over there. And so we'll continue those walks. Now, what Sister Kim's going to do, I have no idea. What Brienne's going to do, I don't know. But so, because neither of their pastures have shrubs. And we learned recently how much of the contents of their diet needs to be of the type of foraging type things from brush and weeds and plants instead of just straight grass. So, all right, let's move on a little bit. What's this over here saying? Lester, is from John. Lester, I'm going to send you some iron brew to drink instead of Dr. Pepper to see if you like it. And he puts a thumb up and a black flag. A black flag. Well, I'll be more than happy to try it. I will say that Jamie and Xander sent me a drink that's popular up north. Forgot the name of that drink they sent me over here. I didn't care for it. But I tell you what, I've been on Dr. Pepper for so long that I don't really feel like I want to change. Lester, I usually don't ask this, but could you put up a prayer for my niece Ashley, who's in Allegheny Hospital in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania? She's 33 years old and she has a bad infection. So she wasn't able to finish that comment, but I will certainly. Here it is. And so anybody who is of the prayer type, if you want to say a prayer for niece Ashley, who has an infection, then Tammy would certainly appreciate that. And so, Tammy, I will just say, Lord, if you're listening, could you please do something to help Ashley and her infection and bring some peace to Tammy and her family who are obviously going through a hard time with this. And Lord, if you're still listening, some rain would be nice. So I got a twofer right there, Tammy. I hope that all goes well with your niece. I know how bad it is when you have family that's not doing well. Amen. Praying for Ashley. So there you go. Um, I'm trying to catch little things here and there. Hey, Lester, I'm curious about that little orange kitty and white kitty that Ellie found over at Longhorn Lester's. Well, there's good news about that, Cheryl. Now, I'm not sure if everyone knows about that kitten yet because I've never played that on my page. And so if you don't follow Ellie's page, you wouldn't know about this. But I can tell you the story real fast. And I can also tell you that that kitten is doing great. So last weekend, Jamie and I were in the hot tub, the little hillbilly hot tub, and Ellie was here talking. He had pulled up a chair beside us, and we saw all of the ostriches raise their wings and start hissing at something. We didn't know what it was, but that's the scare away mechanism that the ostrich does. And so we both, we all began to look over, and Ellie thought it was a snake because we couldn't see anything. So he begins to walk over, and if lo and behold, there's not a little kitten over there, a stray cat, obviously. And when I say stray, it may have been dumped by somebody, but man, it was wild. It was a wild, feral type stray kitten. Dirty, 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 and just so sad, scared of us. It began to run, but it kind of got pinned in the corner between the ostriches and the goats and Ellie and I. And so Ellie was able to reach down and pick it up, and the little cat hissing and scratching at him, but Ellie held on. I'm surprised that Ellie held on. And Ellie held on, and we brought the kitten up, and we took it out to the little garage area. Well, we put it the first night, we put it in our kennel and gave it some food and water, and it ate the entire container of kitten food. We have the wet food in little cans. And so then we fed it a second one, and it ate all of that. And we let it stay in the kennel all night. And I told Ellie we cannot leave a kitten in the kennel. And if I let that kitten go here in the shop, I was afraid that the dogs and the other cats might run it away. So I carried that kitten out to the garage out there where I keep the tractor and the four-wheeler. And I opened the kennel up. I put some more food and water out, and I went ahead and walked away. Pretty much letting the little kitten know that if you want to stay, here's a nice place that you can stay where no one's going to bother you, because our animals don't go out there. And the next day when I went out, the food was gone. The water had been drank, but I couldn't find the kitten. And so I took more food out. The next day, the food was gone. More water had been drank, but I couldn't find the kitten. So I don't know where the kitten was going. And I wasn't real sure if it was a cat even eating. I thought maybe some of the other cats or a raccoon or who knows what might be coming over to eat the kitten's food. But ended up, Ellie came back over this week, and he was able to go out, set some food out, and then he got on top of the tractor just to wait. He waited the kitten out. And after a few minutes, here comes that little kitten from under the shelf where it was hiding. And Ellie got some great video. And so, yes, the kitten is still alive. And I promise you, Ellie will post that video very soon. So that's been almost a week now. That kitten's been here for almost a week. I went out yesterday and tried to love on the kitten. It would not even come out if I was in the garage. So it's not going to be easy. But at least the cat has a place to live and grow up. And if it wants to become part of the mice control out there, then by all means, it can do that. Yeah, we're not really in the business of dog and cat rescue necessarily, but I thought that was cute. All right, I'm going to try this again, says Sally. I'm not sure how hot it's supposed to be over there, but today in Palm Springs, California, it's supposed to be 117. So let's pray for rain in Palm Springs, California, or for it to cool down a little bit. I love watching you and your family and your animals. Stay cool. Sally, 117. I will say this: we have not reached those temps yet. We did get up to 110 one day, and it was just miserable. But we have not reached 117. I hope to God that we don't. I don't know how you guys do it, Sally, but like I was saying earlier, it's not just us here in Texas who's dealing with all of this. I'm seeing this from around the country and around the world. I watched the news, and I don't watch the news a whole lot, but I did watch the news, and I saw that there were people had been passing away in the UK. I'm not sure which country, but a lot of the homes were built without air conditioning because they normally have a climate that where they don't really need air conditioning. And so a lot of the elderly people, especially who live in some of these homes, um, they've found them, they've passed away from heat exhaustion. And so that's horrible. That would be a very horrible way to pass. And so it's not just here in the States, y'all. I know this is it's a it's a worldwide thing. And of course, there's fires in Europe, and there's a lot of things happening that we all need to say our prayers for. But wow. Anywho, London hit 110 degrees. London hit 110 degrees. See, the thing is, I always picture London being like misty and foggy, and everyone wears overcoats. And all the ladies wear these long dresses with these big old tuffly things that come out around their midsections. And so I can't picture you guys wearing top hats and overcoats, like Sherlock Holmes, and the women dress the way they have to dress with 110 degrees. And I'm kidding. I know, I'm joking. I know you don't still dress that way, but that's what television has done for us. Television has given us an idea of how people around the world look and act and dress. And whenever you said London, I'm thinking, wow, a bunch of Sherlock Holmes type people with their pipes and the police with their sticks running around in super high speed, because in London, everything is high speed, at least from those Charlie Chan movies. Anyway, that was dumb. Sorry, London. I get your pain. Let me see what this over here says. I'm just going off of y'all now. Okay. This too shall pass. Whew. Lester, so many areas are struggling from these horrible temperatures and severe drought conditions. I pray that everyone who needs rain can so desperately start receiving it soon. And I share that prayer with you. I think that we all do. So just know, guys, that if you don't live in the country, if you don't know much about how farming and country life works, I need you to picture for a minute like the little domino effect, how dominoes can knock each other down. And so if farms who raise crops are not getting a crop this year, not getting the right crops, then that is going to directly translate into a food shortage. And if there's a food shortage, then because of, what they say, the demand, then food prices of what food is available is going to go up in price tremendously. And so even though you may live in the city and you may not really deal with the drought and you're not really dealing with the heat, because you're in the city and you're in a car and everything, just remember that these kind of conditions may be affecting us in the here and now, but by that domino effect, it's going to eventually reach everybody. It's going to affect us all at some point. Which brings me to another thing I wanted to talk about today. Listen, I'm sitting here on this table here in the shop, and I have all these really neat things around me, packages and gifts, and there's parcels and all kinds of things that you guys have been so good and gifted us with. But for the life of me, I cannot bring myself to opening them right now because I said this before. I just feel like it's very unbecoming of our page to sit here and show you all that we're being blessed with when I know that so many folks are struggling. And if they're not struggling right now, then they're going to struggle eventually. It's going to eventually hit home. And so I've asked you before, and I'll ask you again, to please just, if you can, just slow down on sending things to any of us here on Marble Hill. None of us are asking for anything. We want you to save your money for yourselves. And if you don't need it now, then put it away. I talked to a really sweet lady on the phone a couple of days ago, and she was saying something that she and her husband had been arguing about. She wanted to buy a component that goes into their pool to help vacuum and keep the pool clean. And I believe it was going to cost them $600. And her husband and she were arguing about the money. He said he kept saying no. And finally he took the time to show her how much food $600 would buy. And it was kind of an eye-opening experience for her to realize that in desperate times, where even though the effects have not struck home to that family yet, her husband is aware enough of, from watching the news and watching the channels and watching what a lot of us are going through, to say, hey, tough times might be up ahead. Tough times are right ahead. And so we might need to conserve and start saving some money for what possibly might be a tough couple of months here in the very near future. So for the folks who are asking about gifts and goodies, I do see that, and I would love to open these things up and have this celebration and thank you for how loving and kind you are. But I just can't find it in me right now. I can't find it in me to do it with the right heart. Even though your gifting comes from a beautiful heart, I just think that right now is not the time, y'all. It's not the time. So I would ask you to take your money and hold on to your money. And gasoline prices and so many other things. And I know that we've kind of gotten used to indulging on things and stuff. And you don't want to live in fear. No one wants to live in fear. That was my biggest problem this morning. I was making a video at I'm a Survivor that I'll play in a couple of days, and I just could not seem to find the same jovial, high-spirited Lester that I think the page has become synonymous with. And I finally just stopped and I said that I'm afraid that y'all are going to see right through me if I try to fake it. And I'm scared, y'all. Lester is scared, and my anxiety is showing through. And there's nothing you can do to hide that anxiety. I don't know, maybe you could smoke some dope. I've never smoked dope, but where does someone even buy dope? Where do you buy dope? And what's dope? Most people don't even know what dope is. That was a word that we used back in my generation, dope. Probably smoking dope ain't going to change anything either. No, I'm not going to start smoking dope, okay? But, and no, I'm not going to move all of the animals to Longhorn Lester's. There's no grass here either. So Moo and Annabelle, Billy, Moses, and the other cows that are over there, those are not Longhorns, and they would not eat the same things that Longhorns are able to eat. So they would be leaving a pasture with no grass just to come over to a pasture with no grass. And so that's not what we're going to do. And so we will leave those animals over at the same for the horses. The horses are they're grazers. They eat grass. And so Lester, ONG, old nanny goat, looks so happy at Longhorn Lester's. I hope you let her continue to stay there with Huck and the Wacky Pack. So I will say right now, all of the goats are doing great. Even Brienne's little goats, Pickles. Here comes Jamie. You want to join me? Even Pickles and Elfie are doing really good. And the goats are the one animal that are going to be fine. They're going to be fine. They're going to be able to, they can forage all they want to. There's a lot of things to forage on around here. And so the goats are not struggling at all. And I would agree, Old Nanny Goat does look great. Everyone say hi to Jamie Cakes.
Hi, sorry, I really wasn't planning on coming out here to do this. I just was out in the garden a little bit. Sorry.
No, but I invited you over. And all we're pretty much doing the entire live is talking about the drought and the heat wave, and that not just us, but the whole country's going through. And I'm talking about how even though we're trying to remain our jovial, upbeat selves, it's just kind of hard to mask the worry and the fear.
Yeah.
All of the animals are showing uncharacteristic behaviors, all of them, from different facial expressions to body language.
I say their demeanors are, you can feel their fatigue.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. You can feel the fatigue. And so it has us a little bit worried, but we're just begging for rain. I stopped doing rain dances. Now I'm just literally dropping to my knees and I'm shouting. I begin to shout at the heavens.
Begging and pleading instead.
That reminds me of in the movie Forrest Gump, where Lieutenant Dang, who already lost his legs, he had come back and he was helping Forrest on his shrimp boat. And they're out in a storm, and Forrest is scared. He's trying to get his shrimp boat back to the either out to deeper water or back to port, wherever. Bubba.
No, it is Forrest.
No.
It is Forrest. You're right. It's Forrest.
And Lieutenant Dang is up on the mat. He's like, "Come on! Is that all you got? Let's go! Let's go!" And he's like, "Bring it on! I've been through this. I've lost my legs. I'll do anything. You can't scare me." But you can scare us. We're still scared.
Yeah,
we're not doing the Lieutenant Dang thing quite yet. We're still scared.
Have you ever seen the movie Bruce Almighty?
Jamie, did you cut your hair?
No, it's still long. It's just
it's hot.
It's sticking to all my body parts. Actually, yeah. I just look a wreck. That's why I was like, I'm good. I'm good. No cutting. Have you ever seen Bruce Almighty?
Is that where he was locked inside of a bubble and he didn't know he's inside of a bubble?
No, that's Truman Show. Same character though. So Bruce Almighty is where he begs God and he's just like, oh, nothing's right. So God's like, oh yeah, you think it's so easy? You just be God for a day or whatever. But anyway, in one of the things, what he says is, "Smite me, Almighty Smiter." Like he's just begging for it in that same fashion, and that's where God like comes down and says, "Oh yeah, you think it's so easy? Here you go. You just go ahead," because he's like, how hard is it to say yes? How hard is it to give me what I'm asking for? No. Sometimes I feel like we're living in that. So
Jamie looks fantastic. Lester, heat fatigue is real.
It's very real. I feel like that you have gotten overheated several times trying to.
No, I know for a fact that the heat has got me down at least twice, where I was physically sick from nauseous, migraine type headaches, where I couldn't eat and I couldn't get my thirst quenched for anything. Even water. I mean, I understand Dr. Pepper might not always work, but even the water wouldn't work. Jacob has gotten himself heat fatigued, heat exhaustion. Yesterday, Jake will not come out and work in the mornings. And he knows that the earlier you work, the faster you get things done, and you can be done before the heat sets in. And so, we pay Jake and give him a little list of things to do on a pretty regular basis. But Jake has a bad habit of waiting till 10:30, 11 o'clock and coming over.
It's too hot to work at that point, to get started at that point in time anyway.
Oh no, it's just too hot. So he's gone in the house a couple of times with just severe heat exhaustion, and people don't realize how dangerous that is.
No, I've done it myself too. And it catches up with you because you just think like, oh, it's okay, I'm going to keep going. I have to finish this, but it's really important. Hydration is so important, and taking breaks and finding shade and really, taking longer to complete tasks. Oh, it's raining up north a little bit. Nice.
Okay, Lester, our sky has taken to leaking up here in Tyler Longview area, and the noon news called it rain and even inquired if we remember what rain is. Well, still certainly not enough. People don't realize no rain and drought mean wells will go dry. And so, yes, we all know how wells will run dry. So that is why everyone is way concerned. And so we definitely need the rain.
Yeah.
And okay, well, guys, I think that's about my hour. Jamie, if you have anything you want to add, you can add that now. The last thing that I want to say is for all of you to say an additional prayer for my friend Jason at Cog Hill. I can't and I probably shouldn't say a whole lot because that's not my place to say it. But Jason is also not feeling real well right now. And it's hard because he has a lot of animals and a family that depend on him. And when it's hard when the man of the house and the farmer goes down, because that puts a lot of strain on the support staff to pick up the pieces and can and carry on. So
By support staff, he means family.
that's, well, support staff, family. Anyway, so yes, so you guys keep Jason in your prayers. He's an amazing and a wonderful man and just a really good human being. Just a really good human being. And so y'all keep him in your prayers. And I will apologize one last time for it's not the chipper usual upbeat live, and for that I apologize, but I would have to fake it today, and we're not good at faking things around here. So we're gonna make it. We're upbeat. We're gonna make it, and we're gonna be fine. And you're gonna be fine. And there'll be a time when we will look back on this and laugh and say, "Look how worried we were." And the whole time God had us in His hands, and He was like saying, "Don't worry, I got you. Don't worry, I got you." But no, y'all say your prayers for the animals, and it's not just here at I'm a Survivor and Longhorn Lester's. There are so many people around the country and around the world that are struggling right now. And so we could certainly use one collective prayer
that's what I was
for all of these farms because, like I said earlier, it affects us all. You may not realize it yet, but the day you can't find bread on a shelf, or when that bread has gone up to $5 or $6 a loaf, you have no tortillas for your little slap off fun games like we like to do, you'll get it then.
We'll be regretting that we wasted those on each other's
faces.
Yeah, for sure.
That's true. All right, folks, we love you very much, and we hope you have a wonderful Friday. Oh, last thing, we still have quite a few people. Facebook is going through some weird changes. And so nothing against Facebook, but sometimes pages have to update and change. And so we're getting a lot of people that are saying, "How come y'all only do little short reels now? You're not making any more long videos." That's not true. We're still okay. Jamie, here's a kitten. Can you bring it over here? Listen, Facebook is going through some weird changes, and we definitely are posting several reels, which are short little video reels a day, but we're also posting our long videos. If you're not able to find our long videos, it's a real simple thing you have to do now. Go to I'm a Survivor homepage. Just type in I'm a Survivor Sanctuary. Go to the homepage. Make sure you click follow. You have to click follow. You have to click like. And then when you go back to your news feed every day, our pages, the contents on our page, which will include all of our videos, will be there. And it's not that hard of a step to do, and you can do it. And that way you'll get back on track with Facebook. They've changed a few things, but we are definitely still doing long videos every single day. Lester has not missed a video in 3 years. And now, if you don't see videos from Longhorn Lester's, that's because you have to go to Longhorn Lester's on YouTube. But all right, my friends, that's all we have. And you guys have a blessed day and a wonderful weekend. Stay cool and stay hydrated and try to find a way to put a smile on, okay? And we love you very much, and we will see you guys next time.